Small missions are by their nature more susceptible to forces beyond the province of control. We had a lot of interesting experiences on GALEX. And I'll just give you one example. Our spacecraft supplier had selected the lowest cost radio equipment. We needed an X-band transmitter and receivers for our spacecraft, for our data volume. And they had procured the X-band radio from a company in England. And they were 90% completed with the radio. All that was remaining was the staking and tuning of the radio, which for you RF guys, you know, is a very unique design-specific thing to be done by the designer. When we got a phone call saying the company was declaring bankruptcy, and in England they don't have a Chapter 11. Basically, they said, if you want your radio, you need to come with a final payment and come pick it up from us. So we dispatched our spacecraft manager to England. They made a payment, took possession of the radio in the state that it was in, and brought it back to the United States. We then discovered that it was really not possible to tune and stake the transmitter without the designer who had designed the radio. So we located the designer, who had by then moved to another location, but then we discovered we couldn't ship the radio back to have it finished because the export license we had was with the company that went bankrupt. So there wasn't any way to send it to England to finish it. So we thought the next best thing was we will bring the engineer to America, sit him at a lab bench, you know, give him technicians, and let him finish the radio. And we located this individual, but then we discovered that he was a dual citizen, UK and Iranian. And the company was, the spacecraft supplier was so concerned about the potential to be fined by the State Department for ITAR violations that when the engineer showed up, basically he was led into an empty building in a lab with a soldering iron, told to, you know, basically finish the radio as best they could without providing him any technical assistance. And after looking at the work that was done, we discovered that the workmanship was such that the radio had become a doorstop. So now we were very close to having to be finished dumpster diving, looking for an X-band radio, which one night we cannibalized out of another spacecraft. But we discovered that the spectrum is divided between Earth science missions that radiate in one range and astrophysics missions that radiate in a different range. We were an astrophysics mission, but we had stolen the radio. I'm sorry, we had cannibalized the radio from an Earth science mission. So we had to go to the NTIA, we had to get different licenses, and of course the radio had a different modulation scheme, so we had to buy different demodulators for the ground stations. So there were just ripple effects that wound up costing an awful lot of money to repair. And of course there was not anything we really could have anticipated. So things will happen to you, and they can happen to you, that are outside of your